if I give you a 2-minute video and you watch on YouTube and you watch that same 2-minute video in a VR headset, you tend to remember more. So as a creative, I would say you should not limit yourself to just the mediums that are available to you, like social media, to get your product out. I would say you should look out there. To leverage the metaverse, you do not need to be a metaverse developer. You can go to spatial.io, that's just one example. On spatial.io, you can create a space now, share that link with your clients, and say, oh, these are the products I have. You need you need almost no technical knowledge to get your things into that metaverse space. Thank you. I hope that's fine.
A round of applause for our speaker. He's just giving us definition of XR and telling us the difference between XR, VR, and MR. I hope you're taking notes as well. Which leads me to Ms. Judith. I want to come to, we are Nigerians and we know the state of the market. We know this, that things are not exactly easy. And I know that for you to do all these XR and VR, he talks about headsets. I was reading something about the new headset Apple is about to release, the Apple Vision Pro, which is about $3,500. This is, if you convert it to Naira, that's almost 4 million Naira. Ma, how are we going to get you, how is, an average Lagosian, an average Nigerian going to get into this technology if the cost of getting into it is on the high side?
Thank you very much for that question, particularly because you've hit on one of my personal bugbears, which is access to hardware on the African continent. But before I get to that point, I do want to say that if you do want to get involved with XR, as Babatunde very kindly explained, there's a whole continuum there, right? So there's augmented reality, there's virtual reality, and there's mixed reality. You don't have to start with VR if you don't have a headset, is one thing to say. You can explore augmented reality with your laptop, with your mobile phone. So that is a possibility for starting. And if you still want to do VR as well, Babatunde was just telling us about spatial.io. So you can go ahead and build. I mean, you won't be able to sort of try it out in the headset until you can get access to one. And for access to that, I will say, look out for spaces where, there's an emphasis on providing access to these technologies. For example, we have a lab in Yaba that is open access. So if you're somebody that's building and you want to try out VR headsets, you want to experiment with some of the technology, then you're welcome to come to our lab on Montgomery Road in Yaba, right? Anybody can come in, it is free, just during the week between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. And there's the community there to help you if you're keen to build, so please do that. But to the real question, how do we make sure that these technologies are actually accessible and available for Nigerians and for Africans? Big thing. So for context, the virtual reality headsets that we've been discussing, I mean, you mentioned the Vision Pro, but even if we go down to sort of the considerably more affordable in the general context of VR headset, pricing headsets, even those would be a challenge. And the reason that is because none of the big tech companies actually sell the VR hardware directly on the African continent. So by the time you purchase it in Lagos, you will pay a significant markup compared to what someone in, say, the Western world in one of the major cities would pay. And I think that when you all things considered, for a Nigerian, that's not really fair or anywhere close to justified. And I think that when we think about what we do about a situation like that, then we start to look at some of the multi-stakeholder engagement that I think we've been talking about a little bit during this conference. We say, how do we partner with government, with industry, bring practitioners together, and start to have the kind of conversations where we articulate what it is we want in terms of an African agenda for these technologies. And I think that position then allows us to negotiate, right, access with the powers that be in this case, right? So the people who make the hardware available. And I think that that's a very critical next step for us because we're all talking about things like the metaverse and generative AI. I think it is absolutely vital that our young people are able to play in the space. And we must do everything now to make sure that the challenges that can be overcome, I mean, we'll be working on things like electricity and, of course, connectivity. But that hardware question has to be front and center as well. And we have to have our governments leading the charge on the conversation in tandem with all of the other stakeholders.
Another round of applause for her there. She's letting us know that there's a lab which you can take advantage of if you are really interested in that field. And I will encourage you to do it as well. What I always tell young people is that, we are at the very onset of some of these technologies, and if you can take advantage of, like she said, the lab as well, which is going to bring me back to the robotics team here. We're talking about hardware, and I know that, a lot of these headsets and, some of these things that we actually use in technology, they have some, moving parts as well. Is there anything that you're doing in terms of local, production of some of these smart devices that would enable people to jumpstart, their adventures into these technologies? What are you doing from the robotics and that end? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say quickly that, let me just commend the organizer out of technology, and let me come to your question. When it comes to software, honestly, Nigeria, we're not doing badly. But I have to be frank with you. In terms of hardware, we are nowhere to be found. There are basic components that even university students who want to be exposed to practical aspects of robotics, microcontrollers, Arduino, Raspberry Pis, none in Nigeria. None is being manufactured in Nigeria. So if you need this, either you order from China or you order from probably some manufacturers in Lagos there, or anyway. But in terms of production, we're not there. But in terms of software, building software, we are not doing badly, and I think we are at the forefront. So, but in terms of hardware, we are not yet there.
So what exactly is your company doing to sort of tackle some of these problems that you have said?
Yeah, for now, Dr. Ella Onari will have been there, but I think there's a conference, another conference on AI and robotics in Abu Dhabi, so he couldn't connect it. One of the things he discussed there while we were talking very early this morning is the fact that in terms of hardware, Africa especially, we are yet to be there. And robotics is more expensive in terms of setting up than when we talk of AI, software, and the rest. It needs a lot of funding. And so for now, what we're still doing is we are trying to see through of course, there are a lot of investors trying to see how things will pan out. And they are interested because the Nigerian market, currently 223, according to Statistics, and it is projected that by 2040 or 2050, will be around 240. It's huge. So despite the challenges we are having, there are investors who are looking at, what are those things based on data? What are those things that Nigerians are needing in terms of hardware? And of course, I want to believe that because truthfully, investment in robotics is quite high. Quite high.
Fantastic. I echo what he's just said. He said that we are actually nowhere in terms of some of these facilities. And I think so too. I don't know how many university lecturers are here. One of the things I've always written about online is that we need to change our computer science and computer engineering curriculum in Nigeria, because at the end of the day, you find out that a lot of these things that we're talking about AI, we're talking about blockchain, we're talking about XR. I don't think there is any course of study in any Nigerian university that is exposing young people to some of these things. And even where you have the computer science, degrees, degree holders, they are hardly, functional when they come into the organized private sector. So I think there's a lot that we can do to facilitate this, which then brings me to my friend here, Oyi. If you check the guide, you find out that we probably have the same surname. Just one letter is missing. His surname is Akinde as well, and mine is Akinde. So in your presentation, you mentioned I'm very passionate about Web3 and blockchain technology and how it can, I look at it from from a monetization perspective. How can, somebody asked a question earlier on about NFTs. How can we use these technologies and how can these creative people start to monetize? Because I know that on the blockchain gives you, what you have with the internet right now, why people can't monetize is because you have control, but you don't have ownership of your asset. So if you have a song or you have a production, until you take it to Apple Music or YouTube, and you see they can deplatform you, and once they deplatform you, that's out of it. How can we leverage that technology for us to start to have ownership and start to monetize our, creative outputs?
So there are two ways. Either we build our own platforms or we have stronger ties with the existing platforms. One of my favorite Instagram handles is eluna.ai. I implore you all to go to them. They have a lot of fun things and also educative things. So like with Eluna, you can see things like how to even make memes become videos. So go to live. So all those funny memes are on Funke Akindele when she's looking like, you can actually turn into a video and utilize it. But that's on the fun side. On the monetization side, basically blockchain
cultural shift, again, the creative economy plays such a key role in changing the narratives of people, in changing the mindset of people around intellectual property. There's also a challenge around administrative bureaucracies, and even when people are honestly seeking to say, how can we register our IP, they don't know where to go to. Which office do we go to? Where are we? Okay, if we complete this first set of registration, is that all? And say, no, there's more to be done. And I think there needs to be more that's done, and I think the Lagos State government would do very well to actually have clear guidelines to innovators and to creators on how to go about registering their IP. Of course, in collaboration with the federal registries, that's the Trademarks Registry, the Patents and Designs Registry, the Nigerian Copyright Commission, you're able to bring those resources together so that those who are working hard in Lagos, they have a one-stop place that they can get all this information. I saw in Abuja, we visited once the Abuja Enterprise Agency, and they have a very similar approach, even though it's in Abuja, in supporting creators and startups. And what they had was a one-stop agency where you could walk into that office, into that shop, basically, and you can get all your registrations done in one go. Now, that ease of the administrative burden, we've seen that it does do a lot to encourage innovators and creators take advantage of what they need to know about protecting their intellectual property. Of course, there's also the challenge of dispute resolution. Intellectual property being one of those areas that's still is still developing, you find that there is still a bit of uncertainty around the jurisprudence around intellectual property. And so sometimes cases can take long in court. And this is, again, something that discourages people who are seeking to register or protect their IP. And so some of the challenges you'll still see is that some frameworks, especially around intellectual property, are still outdated. Of course, we've registered a major milestone last year where the new Copyright Act was enacted, but then you still have like trademarks, patents, where we're still trying to get the legislations in. And of course, in some of the newer areas, especially like geographical indications, where there's so much work going on, but yet we haven't managed to get those laws over the line. And so I think there's a lot more to be done in that space around the legal frameworks. And these are, again, pointing to the same challenges. I will not repeat them necessarily for the interest of time. And so as I round up, what are some of the things that I believe we should be doing to make IP work even for creators and innovators in the state? I think there needs to be more collaboration across the entire ecosystem, increased coordination across ministries, departments, and agencies and stakeholders who are involved in intellectual property. And one of the things that we've often found is that there are often silos, and the silos sometimes they affect the innovators or the creators themselves, who are the ones needing this, increased coordination. And so, from a government side, there's just a need for more coordination. And I think it was very great to see that many of the parties or many of the involved stakeholders have been invited, and again, through the office of the Honorable Commissioner, but you're seeing that coordination going on. I think this is only going to help to further make this ecosystem work, this of IP. I think it's also interesting and for states to look at ways they can set up policies, even statewide policies. There's a national IP policy that's been validated, and there's still work going on around around a possible adoption of a national IP framework. But that doesn't stop state governments from actually setting out statewide policies around intellectual property. What is the direction? What's the focus? How do you want to prioritize IP in your state? And I think this is something that, again, we're very happy to work and collaborate with, but this is something that could only serve to help all stakeholders see how they fit into the vision of Lagos State in the area of intellectual property. I think it's also interesting to look at ways that dispute resolution systems, including the use of alternative dispute resolution, can be facilitated and made available. What we've been able to do, for example, is in collaboration with the Copyright Commission as well as the various registries, we've been able to sign some memorandums of understanding around using WIPO's arbitration and mediation technologies and tools. And again, that's something that's very available to innovators and creators seeking to use these 8 alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. And finally, I just want to mention that it's also important to be able to look at strengthened enforcement. Now, a system is only as strong as it can be enforced. No matter what rights you're told you have, if it cannot be enforced, it doesn't make sense in the end. And so with the whole era of digital technology, it becomes a bit more, it becomes a bit trickier, more difficult to enforce intellectual property, especially when you're dealing with cross-border distributions, you're dealing with cross-border exchanges of content. And so there's a need to be able to train and work closely with the officials, whether it's the police, the customs. All of these are part of the puzzle in ensuring that there is greater coordination, but also enforcement of intellectual property. And of course, I've talked about the ease of registration. I've mentioned education and awareness. And I think those are some of the points I will just be wrapping up with. Now, for the last slides, I just want to mention a few things that from a WIPO perspective, we've been doing also with the communities. And so we have WIPO, what we call these technology and innovation support centers. And I'm really glad because we've had some very, very good conversations with the Lagos State government around this. And we will be rolling out a number of technology and innovation support centers, which will provide innovators with access to high quality technology information and related services. We already have one at the Nest in Lagos, but we're looking to expand this. And what this does is it creates access to the database of inventions that already exist, so that when innovators or inventors are trying to come up with their new inventions, as Dr. Ali Kombi was saying, you're always standing on what exists to create more. Now, when they're not starting from ground zero. They already have access to the prior art. And this is what the Technology and Innovation Support Centers provide. So it gives access to the entire repertoire of existing innovation. And just with a click with searches, you're able to see the existing state and you're able to start to program your innovations on that basis. We're also looking to co-develop educational programs. And I think just because we're very committed to education and awareness around intellectual property, we will be working with the government to also create and roll out a number of educational programs that could be deployed in primary schools, secondary schools, and we're also looking, of course, to have an advanced certificate program right here in Lagos as well. I should mention as well that there is the Creators Learn IP platform that was really recently launched by WIPO, and it's just aimed at raising creators' awareness of IP rights and related management practices. It's an online platform, but it's a global platform. And I think if anyone is involved in that space, it's a great place to be, because then you're able to exchange ideas with creators from all across the world and see how they are also countering their own challenges. We just want to be able to create that platform where people can really sit and exchange around IP. I didn't put it on the slide, but there is a program that we recently launched, which was called the IP Labs. And IP Labs is targeted mainly at startups from across the country. And what we've done is, in a way of trying to demonstrate how IP works in practice, we've brought a number of startups through what we call like this IP Labs. And we're taking them through the use of the IP management clinics to show them how, in practice, IP can really serve to build and support your business. And so that's a program that, again, we'll be putting out, but the IP management clinics, we will be infusing them with a number of initiatives in Lagos State. And I'm really glad, again, Engineer Kasimo is not here, but we really had very, very great conversations with her team on this point. And so with that, I want to say a very big thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Please let's put our hands together one more time. I'm sure we can do better. Thank you. So we look forward to the labs, and most importantly, a lot of things that creators and the likes in the digital ecosystem can learn from. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving very swiftly, and it's that time for us to get set for the second plenary session. To begin, we will first of all listen to the lead discussant, and I'd like you to please pay attention to the screen.
Lead discussants. Samuel Onyemelukwe, Senior Vice President of Global Business Development, Trace. Mr. Onyemelukwe is an African global media, entertainment, and digital industry expert. He holds an MBA and a Master in Information Technology from Boston University, and he is currently the Senior Vice President of Global Business Development for Trace. He has worked in media and entertainment in the US, Nigeria, and Africa. Furthermore, he started his career at the Disney Company in Burbank, California, immediately after completing his bachelor's degree in fine art from the University of Southern California. After returning to the African continent in 2009, he joined Viacom Media as MTV Network Business Development Manager, Nigeria, where he created campaigns for the likes of LG, Coca-Cola, and Cadbury, among many others. Mr. Onyemelukwe acquired a master's license to Trace TV in West Africa in 2011, and is widely recognized for turning Trace into a market leader in the region. He has launched many popular TV channels such as Trace Naija, Trace Jama, and Trace Gospel on DSTV and STV Music on Star Times. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Samuel Onyemelukwe.
Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Excellent. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, everybody, for the warm welcome. I believe I have some slides, which I know they're dramatically trying to change right now. So we hope that that will... I got cold feet. So while we wait for that to happen, can I get a signal from over? The ladies are not giving me any signal whatsoever. So let me just do some talking. So I've been in this creative business for a while, right? I didn't actually even get to watch my whole, a very interesting video, by the way. It looked quite nice, some old pictures of me there. I started off with my career in Lagos, as opposed to what I did when I was in the abroad, as we call it. The first thing I did was I was the promoter and manager for a group named Kush. Now, many years ago, when I used to say Kush, everybody would know who Kush was. But these years, as some of us are younger and younger in the audience, sometimes it was a bit before their time. So, does anybody remember Kush, the group Kush? They had a song that went, "Let's live together." Yeah. All right, so, and thank you. I'm very happy to see some hands raised. And for me, when I was doing that back in the day, it was a very exciting time. You know, Amma, you're walking without telling me anything. So it was a very exciting time. It was an early time in our industry. You know, we didn't imagine what would happen. We were very excited. You know, at the time I got to meet, you know, great people like everybody from Ayo Animation, who's a good friend till today, Two-Face and FA, you know, the list goes on and on and on. And we were just trying to make something happen. And all that positive energy, all that drive and can I even say bravado that we had, because we were quite bold to believe that we could do amazing things, has really brought fruit today. And so when we gather and speak about the creative industry, I do it with pride, I do it with the recognition of my colleagues and friends around the industry that I've fought for many years. Is it going to show? Okay. So I'm not going to sing or perform for you, but I'll still, would you like that? But what I will do is I'll tell you a little bit more about what I do currently, because funny enough, I can't remember what my actual slides say, so I'll have to wait till they bring it up. But at Trace, we're lucky, and we're very lucky in the music to be in the industry. We are a cornerstone of the music industry, and it's only by really, creating and building mutual relationships, mutually beneficial relationships, that we've grown and established and stayed in a strong position within the industry. So what I was going to say is I'll just encourage anybody out there, from the youngest who doesn't know what you want to do exactly, you just know you want to make money and be rich, to those among us who have plans and ideas, to just remember that the most important thing you can do is to benefit the person on the other side of the table, right? If you enter a relationship saying that, oh, this is what I want out of it, you're not doing it right. You got to think about the other side. So let me skip along. The first thing I'll tell you is that just some data. Q4 is Lagos's plan to have something happening every quarter I'm so Yankee, sorry about my accent, every quarter or every quarter in Lagos, to attract people to come, to be in Lagos, to have a reason to celebrate and party and have a good time. And we commend Lagos State for even having that foresight and thought of those things. There are over 20 million residents in Lagos, at least that's what they say. We shall really know. But I would say at least 6 million of them are youth above 18. Well, let's leave the ones that are 3 years old right now who like to sing and dance. That's nice. But let's just talk about the older ones, about 6 million. What percentage do you think are creative inside that? 10%? Raise your hand if 10, 20, 30, 40, 50? About 50. We're talking of millions and millions of brilliant minds out there with their own points of view and so much more to do. And not just in music. I know everybody, it looks very interesting because it's very exciting, it's very glamorous to be up on the stage doing WizKid, wah, wah, wah. But trust me, there are roles and what's the word I'm looking for? And a respectable living to be made in many, many aspects of our industry. 1.4 million annual visitors to Lagos. Actually, this number is 10 years old, and Lagos State right now is saying we don't really have credible information on this, but it's a lot of people. And how do we treat them? What do we offer them? How do we make sure that we benefit from them and they benefit from their visiting here? 150 plus Lagos State government parastatals and agencies. It's a lot to manage, right? So we are thankful for those in innovation, in the creative space that support and want to grow this industry alongside of us. There are over 12 plus Grammy winners and nominees within a few square miles of us, right? I did a talk with Def Jam the other day, Def Jam Records, and literally there were 3 people on stage. It was P Prime, Tells, and Bloody Civilian. All 3. Tells is a Grammy winner. The 2 are Grammy nominated. I was looking at them like, Jesus of Nazareth, see, this thing is wonderful. It was really exciting. So I want us to communicate that excitement. We know how tough it is out there, so I'm not just dreaming, Sha, but I'm just saying at least let's look at the positives. Digital music market is over $100 million, according to Statista, in 2023. I don't know, I didn't see that money myself, Sha, but is plenty. All right, outsized influence. Lagos has almost a mythical status, right? Almost a mythical status in terms of you meet anybody around the world, especially around Africa, and they want to come to Lagos. They just want to come, I want to visit. But we could lose that. We have to be careful because Rwanda, Kigali in Rwanda, I know we just did a big event there, so maybe I'm part of the problem, but they're making a real effort to bring people out there, and it's amazing, right? Accra, they're playing us with that there. We have Dirty December. What do they have? Full Circle or whatever they call it. So we have a mythical status. People dream of Lagos. Those of us that don't live here, they actually dream of it. But we could do more. And creativity, the whole creative industry needs government. You need to work with government. It's a fact around the world that you need that public support. Public support for the arts is a well-known story. And we need government to support us both financially, with laws, with regulations, and to create that, what we always call an enabling environment, which means make it easier for us, right? But there's a lot of positive signals. We have young guys in government coming in, making the efforts, and it starts somewhere, so we have to keep positive. I'm almost done, so please don't mind me. A few suggestions. Allocate land for creative hubs and spaces. We're seeing some of that happening. We could see more. One thing that's missing in Lagos and in Nigeria specifically is a live performance touring culture, right? Every night in Lagos right now, you have over, I got a number recently, I think you got 30,000 live events in Lagos every night, approximately. And think about it, makes sense. All over the expanses of Lagos, even if it's just one guy, you know, blah, 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 you know, rapping over a track or whatever, 30,000. Imagine if there were 5,000, you know, good venues to perform in, right? They don't have to be high-end. We don't need every massive technology. Just the space. Best. We'll build further from there. Tax breaks. We hear too much from tax authorities. For those of us that are trying to build this business, you know, that's where there is a pioneer status. It's very hard to get. Anyway, I'm talking much. Please, I'm begging you, help them clean the airport small. Please, I'm begging you. If you have not flown into international airports, please tell somebody to help us clean the airport. And I'm not even joking. It's one of the things we took into account when we did the Trace Awards in Kigali last year, because we wanted everybody that came to that to have an incredible experience. So thank you very much. I'm done. I think I should be bringing up my panelists. If I have a panelist, you're not telling me anything? I hope it was okay for you. I should go back.
No, you don't have to leave. What we're just going to do is we'll just ask you to please just stay with us on stage. We'll take a few messages from the sponsors so we can get the panel ready. So let's do that now.
One person.
I remember the face. Remind me. Of course. Yes, yeah, the much better looking version of Paul's team. Yeah. I remember now. Yeah.
Individuals.
Right.
Our ambition is learning skill. But when we collaborate as a team, our power combines. Being open, it's in our DNA. Huawei fuses together industry scenarios and innovative ICT technologies, working in tandem with global customers and partners to accelerate digital transformation, building up modern governance systems with city intelligent twins, delivering better services to people far and wide, promoting the intelligent upgrade of the financial industry, supported by agile business innovation, designing comprehensive transportation systems that usher in convenient travel and smooth logistics, driving the development of green, low carbon, safe, and efficient energy, unleashing the digital potential of industries.
Are we good?
Digitalization is now certain. Together, we strive into a wider world. Together, we accelerate digital transformation. Together, we create new value.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed ready for the final plenary session for for the 2-day event here at the Art of Technology Lagos 5.0 Day 2. And of course, you do know your most importantly, the lead this concert is on seat already. That's Sam Oyemelukwe. First of all, let's put our hands together for Sam one more time, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd like to invite the other panelists to please join us on stage. I'm going to start off first with Head of Music, Sub-Saharan Africa, YouTube. Put your hands together for Adi Awofisayo. Take note, I said Head of Music, Sub-Saharan Africa. You know, when I mentioned that, I think my ears could pick somebody saying, my music don't blow. Thinking that, by the way, she's the connector, so Adi, I'm sorry, I had to put you on the spot. Let's also make welcome on stage very quickly. Let's see if it's around. Yes, most definitely. We do have film director, producer, founder, Film Tribe Media, Kayode Kasum. Kayode Kasum. Please put your hands together, please. Okay. I thought I saw him around, but then again, let's wait. Hopefully, it's not one of those who has just taken a break to touch base with the restroom quickly. Okay, let's also make welcome on stage very quickly. Chief Executive Officer, Pop Central. Put your hands together for Yinka Obebe. Thank you. We also have here with us the convener, the Peak Performer Recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Abiola Salami. He's going to be our moderator, so let me call him now that he's here very quickly. We'd also like to make welcome on stage CEO, Purple Blue Entertainment Solutions Limited, Chinedu Chukwuji. Chinedu Chukwuji, PhD, Chinedu. Okay. Well, we'll move on. For those who have not joined us here yet, I know I did see the other panelists around, but hopefully, let's see if it comes back and joins us. Also, we do have Dr. Bada Akintunde Johnson. I haven't seen Bada Akintunde Johnson around yet. I know I did see someone that looked like him. But then again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my job would be to actually locate where they are within the hall or the second hall, if they can hear me, and then bring them here on stage. But of course, we do have our moderator, so I'm going to hand the mic over to you. Do you have a microphone around there, please? Yes, there's one more person. So we do have, I'm going to call the last person now who's joining us on stage. Bada isn't here yet. Hopefully he gets here and joins us. Let me also quickly call on stage founder, managing partner, Catwig and Dale, Karen Chukwu.
He works at MT.
Karen Chukwu. Let's put your hands together for Karen Chukwu, please. Karen is founder and managing partner, Catwig and Dale, and she will be talking on From Lagos to the World, Africa's Influence on the Global Creative Stage. We're talking about the influence of Africa on the global creative stage. How many of us know this person? Ladies and gentlemen, Obio. Who's that?
Davido.
Somebody answered me quickly.
I answer you.
Okay. How many of us know I greet you, bros? Emmett toss that guy with the that guy will wear face cap. I greet you. No, the other one, I greet you. How many of us know that? If you know, put your hands up. What is BF? Huh? Normal baby female now. These people. Ladies and gentlemen,